This is continuing coverage in the trial of Richard Merritt from the Hidden Killers podcast on the True Crime Today network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I understand that you all have reached a verdict. If the foreperson will please stand. And if you will switch seats with that gentleman on the front row, so you'll be closer to the deputy. If you will give the verdict form to the deputy. Sir, if you will read the verdict form from the very top, starting with in the Superior Court, all the way to the bottom.
In the Superior Court of DeKalb County, State of Georgia versus Richard Vincent Merritt, defendant, indictment number 19CR2141-4, Judge Courtney L. Johnson. Verdict form. As of count 1, malice murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As of count 2, felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As of count 3, felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As of count 4, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As of count 5, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As of count 6, possession of knife during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. This 24th day of May, 2023.
And is it signed and dated by you as foreperson?
Correct.
If you'll give the verdict form to the deputy. Deputy, if you'll give the verdict form to the attorneys. Any objection to the form of the verdict from the state?
No, Your Honor.
From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Are there any matters for the court to take up prior to excusing the jury panel?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are discharged as our jury. You can have a seat, sir. Thank you. You are discharged as our jury. I want to thank you all for your work during the course of the trial and your time and patience with us. I would like to speak with you just briefly before you excuse for the day. The instruction that I gave you about not talking about the case no longer applies at this point, so you're free to talk to whoever you choose to about the case. Sometimes the attorneys may want to talk with you about your decision to see how you came to your decision. If you want to talk to them, you can. If you don't want to, you're not obligated to do so. You're not obligated to speak to anyone that you don't choose to about your verdict and how you came to the verdict in the case. All right. Thank you very much. If you'll retire to the jury room. All right. This will be the sentencing hearing for 21 CR 2140, State of Georgia versus Richard Vincent Merritt. Mr. Merritt, if you'll please stand. Mr. Merritt, you were charged in this indictment with 1 count of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count of possession of a knife during the commission of a felony. The jury has just returned guilty verdicts on all counts. This will be the sentencing hearing for your case. I will hear from the state any evidence that they wish to present in aggravation and their recommendation for sentencing. And then I will hear from your attorney in any evidence that you wish to present in mitigation. Thank you. Ms. Pott?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, there's this case number 19 CR 2140. The case number that you read was backwards. Your Honor, Mike Jeffco would like to address the court. like to hear from him now?
If that's how you want to proceed, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeffcoat, can I get you to raise your right hand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in the case now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. If you'll state your name for the record.
My name is Mike Jeffcoat, Jefcoat.
Go ahead, sir.
First of all, I'd like to commend Your Honor on the job you've done on this trial. I think you've been very fair to both parties, and it's good to see this kind of justice being administered in such an even-handed way. I want to thank Helen Pott for the outstanding job she's done on the prosecution. And believe it or not, I also would like to thank Mr. Queen for his job as a public defender. Sometimes you can be the bad guy or be perceived as the bad guy. I understand from my point of view, you're a necessary evil, but you're also promoting the cause of justice, and I appreciate that. Shirley Merritt was an absolutely wonderful person. She was a joy to be around. She was a very giving and loving person, and a great person was murdered by her own son. All this started almost 5 or 6 years ago now, when Richard was first arrested for stealing from clients, mostly elderly clients, and he showed then he had no compunction about doing anything. When it came time for him to go to prison, he couldn't stand the idea of somebody with an ego as big as his being sent to prison, and the court has convicted him of murdering his mother, cutting off his ankle bracelet, running to Nashville, getting on a website and dating a woman and living with her under a complete and utter pretext. His whole life has been a pretext, and I just want the court to know what an evil person he is in the eyes of his family. Everybody in the family has been impacted by this. Everybody's been impacted by the death of Shirley. We miss her still every day, and I want him to understand that and the court to understand that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, as the court saw, this was a brutal, violent crime at the hands of Richard Merritt, committed upon his 77-year-old mother in her own home. As Mr. Jeffcoat just said, he then went on and lived a lie and caused a nationwide manhunt for 8 months. The state is asking, as to count 1, malice murder, for a sentence of life without parole. Count 2 and count 3 are felony murder. They would be vacated by operation of law. Counts 4 and counts 5 are both aggravated assault. They would merge with count 1. And as to count 6, which is possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, the state would ask for the required sentence of 5 years to serve to run consecutively to count 1, for a total sentence of life without parole plus 5 years to serve. I have spoken to various members of Shirley Merritt's family. They agree that this is an appropriate sentence, as Mr. Jeffcoat just explained. They do not wish to speak at this time. Specifically, Rob Merritt, who has been present during the entirety of this trial. He is Shirley Merritt's older son, and he agrees that this is a reasonable outcome for the case. However, he does not wish to address the court today. So that is how I would ask the court to sentence the defendant.
And he's entitled to credit from what day?
He was arrested on September 30th of 2019.
No, Mr. Mayor, wish to address the court this time. Seated, standing, here, there, you decide.
Why don't you pull the microphone? Mr. Merritt, I do need to swear you in. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the evidence you shall give in the case now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Mr. Merritt, before you say anything, I want to make sure that you understand that you do have the right to appeal your conviction in this case. I am going to give you some more instructions about your appeal rights once we've concluded with the sentencing hearing. But I'm sure that Mr. Queen has discussed this with you, but I do want to make sure that I reiterate that to you for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes.
Your Honor, I realize that words aren't going to adequately convey what has occurred throughout the past week and the previous several years. I was raised right by two very good people, beautiful people, my mother and father. I had a beautiful family that I've lost. I've long since lost them. I've lost them in the Cobb County case. Things were never the same after the arrest. I had, as I said, a beautiful family, beautiful children, a beautiful wife, inside and out, all of them. The world was truly our oyster, and I blew it. I just fell victim to the ultimate drug there is, and that's the green drug money. And it led to just bad behavior and bad choices. And my life spiraled out of control, and I couldn't get it back. I am immensely sorry for the pain that this entire process has caused. I realize it's been very uncomfortable for my family, those who used to be my friends, extended family, everybody who ever cared about me. And I was blessed to have a lot of people that did. And most of them are gone now. Maybe they'll come back in my life one day. I don't know. I have to earn that back somehow. I accept the court's sentence, whatever it may be. I respect, despite how poorly I treated the profession I was so lucky to be a part of. I respect the system. I respect justice and the jury's verdict. I certainly understand my rights of appeal and will pursue that accordingly, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. We all wish things could be different, but I can't go back and change anything. As I said, I just, it's a very surreal experience to be sitting here, and words aren't going to do any good. And I just want my family to know, as I sit here now, that I wish none of us had to go through it and endure the pain of this entire ordeal. And I hope that one day, when they're ready, if they're ready, that I'd be blessed to have them in some form in my life. I have not had a single interaction with either one of my children since being arrested in Nashville. I have no idea what their lives are like. I really have no idea what they look like, what their day-to-day life is like. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to believe this, but I do love them more than anything, and I miss them terribly. I'm not trying to interfere in their lives, and certainly that being a part of it's a little bit difficult in prison. I've been in prison now 2.5 years, Before that, I was stuck in DeKalb County 14 months in COVID, so I've been incarcerated almost 4 years. I know how hard it is, and I know how it changes people. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to be a better person and realize that life is a blessing, whatever form it may take, even a very difficult situation such as what I'm facing right now. I appreciate the court's time.
Mr. Quinn.
You already heard Mr. Merritt's long, tragic fall. Your Honor, we simply ask the court for a sentence of life with the possibility of parole. We know counts 2, 3, 4, 5, either merge or vacate, and we ask the court to sentence Mr. Merritt to 5 years to be suspended consecutively on count 6. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Merritt, if you'll please stand, sir. Mr. Merritt, as to count 1, malice murder, I do sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. Counts 2 and 3 will be vacated as a matter of law. Counts 4 and 5 will merge with count 1. As to count 6, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, I do sentence you to 5 years to serve consecutive to the sentence in count 1 for a total sentence of life without parole plus 5 years. I will give you credit for the time that you served from September 30th of 2019 to the present. And Mr. Merritt, as I indicated previously, you are entitled to appeal your conviction in this case. You have 30 days from today's date to file your notice of appeal to preserve your appeal rights. Mr. Queen, can you assist him with doing that?
We'll take care of it, Judge.
All right. Mr. Merritt, do you have any questions about your appeal rights?
No, Your Honor.
All right. If you'll have a seat.
Your Honor, we did have one request of the court.
Yes.
We prepared an order to have Mr. Merritt transported as soon as possible. I'm not sure if you want it sent to your staff or placed in the queue.
If you send it through the queue, it'll be sent directly to the sheriff's office, so that's the fastest way.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Merritt, in just a moment, the clerk is going to ask you to approach the podium so that you can sign the sentence sheet. Mr. Merritt, in addition to your right to appeal the conviction in the case, you do have the right to file a writ of habeas corpus if you do believe that your constitutional rights have been violated in any way during the course of the trial. You have 4 years from today's date to do so, to preserve your rights. Do you understand that? Okay. Do you have any questions about that?
All right.
You're listening to the trial of Richard Merritt from the Hidden Killers podcast on the True Crime Today network. Press subscribe now and get ad-free episodes by upgrading to our premium experience through Apple Podcasts. More next.